With me right now from Third Mutual is Steve Parsons, and he is their treasurer. And along with him, we brought, well, I should say Steve brought Kurt Weeman. And today we're going to talk about alterations and inspections. We got several things to get to, and then we're going to talk about home ice makers and the proper way that they should be, right?
Good.
All right. So you, Steve, you got a few things you want to talk about, and then we'll get into the ice makers.
Okay, being treasurer, I've had several people ask me, when are we going to find out about next year's assessments? And I think that they don't really understand all the meetings that go into coming up with this. And let me give you just a little background on where we're going on this. We've had meetings with our landscape department and also our maintenance construction area. The meetings went very, very well. And you may have noticed the work started earlier this year than last year. That's because they were able to get the contracts out earlier and start like the end of January, first part of February. But anyway, back to the budgets. Just to give you a little rundown here, Brad Hudson, who's our VMS CEO, will be briefing an all boards meeting on the 9th of July. That's where he takes everything in VMS and actually presents it to us with dollar figures and justification. From there, we take it on and do a smoothing type process, and somewhere along the line of August, September timeframe, then we'll be able to come up and tell you what your next year assessment's going to be. So I know people have been asking on that, so please hold off till the end of August or September. Another thing that's very important, I think, that people forget about is the Third Mutual Newcomers Orientation.
Right.
The next one's coming up on the 20th of January from 6 to 7:30 in the Pine Room here in the Community Center. I highly recommend it. There's a lot of information that comes out there that you won't find anywhere else, but even the city is here, and they're able to show you and show you things, and you can ask them questions. Something that's near and dear to people's hearts is also refreshments are available during the orientation, so don't forget that.
They are, and I want to, we always say this, but we give the phone number because over the past year or so, or maybe less than that, that's changed for both you and United. We don't want people to call in, and that way you know how many people are going to be there. So, prior to that, we give the phone number, and people
if you can't call in, though, don't worry about it. Show up anyway.
Okay.
And it's a very good forum to ask questions and get familiar with things.
Okay.
Another topic is Third Mutual has a VMS board vacancy, and this term is to end on 2020. We're looking for qualified candidates. If you'd like to serve on that, please contact us. And you can contact us through the corporate secretary, which is Cheryl Silva, in the Brad Hudson's office, general manager's office. That's at 949-268-2383. Okay. And you can get an application and ask questions there. Another area that means a lot to me is disaster preparedness training, and we have them periodically throughout the year. The next one that's coming up on June 6th, this is from 9 to noon in Clubhouse 7, and this is for child and infant CPR and AED training. This is an in-depth course, and people can learn a lot. Don't feel bad if you can't retain it all, because we have refresher courses in the future. But it's something to be aware of and be prepared for, as many people can attest to. If you'd like to come to this, pre-registration is required. Please call our disaster preparedness office at 949-597-4237 for information. Into another area that I've noticed a lot recently, and I've talked to Chief Moy about this, and that's people running stop signs. Last year, the whole year, and I want to pick on gates 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, last year, the whole year, there were only 30 violations that we noted. So far, in the first 3 months of this year, there's been 70.
Wow.
And I've noticed several on my own. Other board members have noticed it. Other people have talked to us about it. So we'd like to remind people, if you see somebody driving erratically or dangerously, take the date, the time, the location, and the license number and call security, and they'll take note of it. And when they get so many calls, then they'll actually talk to the person and ask them if they know the driving rules. Okay. California's a little different than several others. There are some states where they encourage you just to go through if there's no traffic, but that's not here. We've got to take care of ourselves and watch out for others. I've even gone down cul-de-sacs at 15 miles an hour, which is the stop sign, or which is the recommended speed, And I've had people step right out in front of me, cars back out from parking. And if you're going any faster than that, you're probably going to hit them.
Yeah.
So there are reasons for the speed limits, and you got to be cautious. We live in a senior community, so take your time, be careful when you're going through stop signs, look both ways, and then proceed on.
Okay. Very
Okay,
good.
from here, I'd like to turn it on to Kurt with some other things that we've noticed in Third Mutual. I will just preface this by saying that I'm the chairman of the Executive Hearing Committee, so I get to hear infractions and things like that. And the topics he's going to cover here are near and dear to me because I see so much damage.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll let him talk about that and go into it.
All right. Very good. Go ahead, Kurt.
I manage the Manor Alterations Division as well as the Moisture Intrusion Department. So those two departments sort of mingle together when we come together for something like this. Alteration ice makers, in fact, all ice makers in the village are alterations. There were none that were installed stock with the houses. None of them came with them. So if you have an ice maker, it's an alteration and it is your responsibility.
Okay.
And to get to the depth of the matter is, Steve and I are on the Executive Hearings Committee together, and we hear the cases of damages that have damaged mutual property or other people's property. So far this year, we have heard 27 cases totaling over $20,000 worth of damage. And that's damage just to mutual property.
Yeah.
That's not damage to personal property.
Right,
For instance,
right.
people's wood floors, their cabinets, things like that. All that becomes the responsibility of the person who owns the ice maker.
Yeah.
So they do cause a lot of damage. And one of the reasons why they cause a lot of damage is because they're hidden. It's out of sight, out of mind. They're often installed underneath cabinets, behind
Right.
your refrigerator, underneath your sink, and you don't see it. So, and I think one of the things that leads to that problem is the initial installation. If you can see on your screen now, you see the installation kit that comes when you buy a refrigerator with an ice maker. This is the one that the appliance delivery guy will install in your house when he puts it in. It comes with cheap plastic tubing. I don't know how you want to do this. Very cheap plastic tubing that ages. When it ages, it cracks and it becomes brittle and leaks. And the problem with that is it leaks for a long time before we even see it.
Yeah.
You don't notice it's there, it leaks, it drips downstairs. If you have an upstairs unit, it drips downstairs and it causes a lot of damage. It's very difficult to dry out because it's all hidden and it's all in the walls. If you want to go to the next slide.
Okay.
As you can see, these are installed with this little pinch bolt system. It just clamps onto the copper pipe and a little tiny needle pushes a hole in there. And if you can see on the picture on your lower right, it's just one tiny little rubber piece of rubber that's keeping it from leaking. And those often get brittle and leak also. So what we like to see here in the village, if you go to the next slide, is this type of insulation. This can be done by a plumber in a matter of 10-15 minutes. The water has to be turned off for 10 minutes. We will work with you. All you have to do is have your plumber give us 24-hour notice and we can do that. And these do not leak at the pipe. These, once they're in, they're done.
Yeah, these are, what's nice about these too, with the compression tee right there, there's no soldering that needs to be done, but you need a qualified plumber to cut the line, put that in properly, and like you said, it takes a few minutes, but it could save
thousands
of dollars. Yeah.
Yes. We saw one this couple of months ago that was well over $5,000 worth of damage for an ice maker leak.
Wow.
And like I said, that doesn't even consider what it did to your kitchen floor, your kitchen cabinets. And third, you own everything. All the flooring, all the cabinets. So if it's leaking underneath your cabinets and ruins your cabinets, guess who's buying new cabinets?
Yeah. Yeah.
So we recommend that you check your ice water line regularly.
Yeah.
If you go to the next slide, we recommend that you change out the existing plastic tube. Most places do have that plastic tube. You can get a 20-foot braided stainless steel line over at Lowe's for $12.
Yeah.
It only costs a few pennies more than the plastic line, and it can save you thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yeah,
and it's easy to install. Go to the next slide.
And these are interesting, the photos you have of the next three items. these water leak alarms.
Right. We also are recommending that people buy these and put them in their homes. These are fairly inexpensive. What you have here is a reusable water leak alarm. Runs on a little battery, one of those little button batteries, and they only cost $10 to $15. They're available at Lowe's, Home Depot, and Ace. I
Okay.
checked with the Home Depot across the street. They don't have them in stock, but they can order them.
Okay.
And they can get it here within a couple of days. This is a single-use water alarm. The way these work is you just set them down. I'll show you in a slide, but this one is single-use. You can get a 3-pack of these for about $12, $15,
Yeah.
also at Home Depot.
Yeah.
And go to the next slide. These you just put next to your hot water heater. You can put them behind your fridge, under your sink. And what they do is when they get wet, when they sense a little bit of moisture, they start beeping. And that's a great sign for you
That
to...
really is.
Yeah, and if we can catch leaks, you can hit, even in this picture here, if you can see in the back, you can see the line attached for the alteration ice maker leak. And they just set off a beeping alarm and let you know when you have a leak so you can take corrective action. And when you
Yeah.
hear the beep, just call our emergency plumbers. They're here weekends, they're here evenings. Just call them and we'll come out and turn off the water to prevent further damage.
And I really like the idea of these. And I can't tell, this is probably maybe about an inch thick or something like that, or,
Those are smaller than a hockey puck.
okay. And what's nice is that you can put these too, because we've had our dishwasher leak, not from a supply line, but just because the filter was clogged or something like that. You don't notice it for a while. But even sticking these, underneath the dishwasher, you can pull out the bottom, the fascia underneath and stick it under there, but that's an idea too. And then you'll know if your supply line to your dishwasher is dripping or something's wrong.
Right, you can
Yeah.
even put those behind your
Good
toilet.
idea.
You can put
Yeah.
them anywhere underneath your bathroom sink, anywhere where there's water.
Yeah.
But the big number of damages we get are hot water heaters and the alteration ice maker leaks.
Okay. A question for you. The people that do have ice makers and maybe have the old saddle valve in there, is there something that they can do to find out, maybe someone can help them out, pull that refrigerator out that maybe they can't do it on their own, and that way they can see what their connection is? Can they have a service call that they
Yeah,
can
you
do
can
that,
either
or-
call an appliance service
Okay.
company or
Okay.
a licensed plumber. We would prefer a plumber.
Okay.
Because then he can come in and put the right connection in your wall. Like I
Yeah.
said, it doesn't take long. You do need a mutual consent for it because you are going to touch mutual plumbing. And
That's right.
That's $35, which also is minimal compared
Okay.
to
All
what
right.
the damage will do.
Yeah, but believe me, as Kurt said, the damage that it can do is going to be 10, 15, 100 times what it's going to cost you to have this done.
Very
Correct.
significant.
Yeah, very much so. Very good advice, and thank you for the slides, because that really kind of shows what the problems can be. Anything else you'd like to add today?
Oh, sure. He's got a couple other things he'd like
Okay.
to mention here too. We have a new demolition policy, and let him go into this. This took effect on 1
Okay.
June.
Actually, we're implementing it today. We didn't get the word out we did a mass mailing to contractors last week and to realtors and to residents. Starting today, we're adding a demolition mutual consent to the
Okay.
process. We understand it's adding one more step to what seems to be a complicated process, but we're doing it to protect the mutual members. We've had a huge uptick in people doing illegal alterations or doing alterations unsafely. As many people know, we have a lot of asbestos here in the community, and what we're getting is a lot of people aren't handling it correctly. So the demolition permit is applicable to any time you're touching anything with asbestos, which includes scraping popcorn ceilings. You never used to need a permit for that, but we've had
Yeah.
several incidents lately costing tens of thousands of dollars because people have tracked
Yeah.
asbestos out into common area, which means we have to go and clean the common area, which in some places is a huge area. So what we're doing is we're putting in the demolition permit. You come and pick that up as the mutual consent process. We're condensing it into one process. You just don't get the mutual consent until you provide us proof that your unit is clean. And
Yeah.
the upside for
That's a
that
very good
is
point.
right now, the way it works now, when you take out a mutual consent that contains any kind of demolition work, we red tag it within our database internally in VMS.
Okay.
We red tag that unit. So no VMS employee can go into that unit until we remove that red tag, until we know the asbestos is properly abated. Residents aren't bringing us that information until they're completely done with their job. What that does is if you have a leak, and we have that a lot, contractors hit a water line, our staff has to suit up, put on the big suits, the masks and everything before they can even go in there and fix the leak. So
okay.
until we
Yeah.
remove that red tag, we can't even go in your unit at all.
Okay.
So this is another way to clear that red tag in the beginning of your project. As soon as you're done doing whatever removals you have to do, we can clear your unit. That way VMS staff can go in your
Yeah.
unit. You can go in your unit safely, and your contractor can work safely. So it's all about the safety of everybody in the village.
All right, dryer vent inspection, and this is added now to the resale inspection checklist.
Yes, what we're doing is we're going to start checking the exterior vent pipes of dryer vents.
Okay.
Because what happens is birds love them.
Yeah.
They're nice and warm, and they get in there great for hatching their babies. Spiders love them too. So what we're doing is this is to prevent fires.
Yeah.
So we're going to go and we're going to start checking the exterior vents where they exit the building to make sure they're not plugged.
Okay.
Residents are still responsible for making sure their dryer vent line is clean, which is also appliance technician can come in and they just run a big brush through and clean it out.
Yeah.
That's still a resident's responsibility. But at resale, we're going to check the exterior what belongs to the mutual and make sure that is safe too.
Okay. Hot water heaters that are over 10 years old, and we know about those. Yeah.
Yes, effective January 1st of 2019, in Third Mutual, you'll be required to replace your hot water heater if it is over 10 years old, 10 years and older. So we will start doing interior inspections in Third. Nowadays, we just do exterior inspections, but we're going to be moving to interior inspections and checking hot water heaters to make sure they're new.
Okay, and finally, you want people to use the term leak when report water damage.
Yes, what we get is it's confusing, especially if you call security late at night. If you notice water stains, if you notice water, a leak, use the word leak. Call in and call a water leak in. If you say water damage, water stains, they don't make it a priority. If you see water, call it water leak and we'll be there right away.
All right, very good. I want to thank you both for coming on today. Great information. Love the presentation on the ice makers. And you know, that's something, again, get it taken care of, because it's pennies for compared to thousands. So
Exactly.
seriously, good to see you.
Okay.
Hey, Kurt, always good to see you. Thank you for coming on, and we'll be right back.